Alrighty. Alright, as college students, how have classes and school shaped your decision making?
And like since coming to college, I've I've actually learned more. I've become more educated. Some of the decisions I thought I was gonna make before I came to college, you know, I've actually changed my mind on those decisions. So overall, college has, it allowed me to become more knowledgeable about the decisions I make.
Well, what he's saying, just the more knowledge that you have, the better you can make a decision, like flat out. Like the more things you know about something, the more you can assess the question at hand or whatnot and make the right decision.
I think it's made me think more critically. Like you definitely have to go more in depth in your learning. It's like before we were kind of taught the surface of things, but now we're taught like more in depth and like actual practical material.
And that actually like raises a lot of questions because some of the stuff, especially in ENC 1101 and ENC 1102, some of the stuff we've been taught in high school, I think most of our professors, they try to assert, what I find is they're trying to assert that most of the stuff we learn, it's not stuff, it's stuff that's useful, but we should start thinking a different way. And that I think brings about, the way of your own research, Tech 2 literacy itself.
Like learning how to think by yourself rather than reading something and spitting it back out.
And also challenging the stuff.
So what's your opinion on tattooing as an art?
Well, tattooing as an art, I actually see it as an art itself. I mean, I don't really distinguish it as a different kind of, I can't even describe it besides an art because it is an art. I find it as an art. I mean, the painting you see, those famous painters, all of those famous painters, what they draw is similar to what tattoo artists do. They're basically creating art, and in that, I think tattoo is an art.
I think it's definitely like an art. Like I think it's a more complex kind of art because the canvas alone is different. It's a person. The tools they're using isn't like a brush or a pencil or a stencil. It's like the little gun, and also like trying to satisfy the customer with their talents. Like you tell them what you want, and you can't. Well, obviously, whenever I was doing it, you can't draw it out because I don't have that ability to try and show him what I want. So he has to kind of get from what I'm telling him and manifest it into trying to match what I'm wanting. And that, I think, that's pretty difficult.
I think it's definitely an art, and it's definitely a more personalized art where you're appealing to someone specifically, and it's one of those things it's a tattoo on someone's body, so it's something that's very personal. It means something to a great deal to that person that they're getting that specific tattoo. I mean, it doesn't really matter if it's on a canvas or it's a painting, but tattooing is the same degree. You're drawing something or you're writing something that means something to someone, and that's art to them, that they want to show that or they want that to see that because, of course, a tattoo is permanent, so they want that to be there.
I think that actually brings up a lot of other questions because when you talk about art, you're talking about expressing your emotion. And when you're talking about the person that's getting that tattoo, he wants to express his emotion. So I actually take back what I said. It's more than art. It's like something of what you would call perfectionist art because it's not something you can turn back on. Pen and paper, maybe you can draw. You can like how you create a academic journal, you can republish it. I mean, not republish it, revise it, tweak it. But tattoo, once it's there, it's there. Yes, you can get laser surgery, but I mean, if you've seen somebody go through that, it's not something you'd want. So it's more of a perfectionist art. You can't turn back on it, and I think that's what makes it more beyond the term of art. It's more based on like a psychological, kind of field where it's the person's decision. It's it expresses his emotion.
How do you think the youth of today decides on getting tattoos? What's their thought process? What do you think their thought process is?
I've actually not noticed anything between, like when considering people. I mean, I don't usually, I would see people having tattoos, but over the course of of how I've seen people, I think it hasn't really changed. I mean, I think maybe it's because from the time I was born, probably it was more accepted, and now it's still accepted. Maybe it's getting more accepted. More people might have it, but I think it's already at this stage level where our society just accepts it as unlike they did before.
I agree with that. As time goes on, it's getting more and more accepted as more and more people are having them. As far as decision making, I've seen the extremes. Like some people take their time, find what they want, and something that has meaning to them. And then I've also seen people just out of impulse, they're like, oh, name brand, like Nike, on me, like Polo, on me, like just out of nowhere, out of impulse. And I've seen them also like a month or two later looking at themselves like, why the hell did I get this? Like, I think it depends on the kind of person. Like,
Yeah, I would agree. I've seen both. One either done on the moment, or they've really thought about it for a long time. But I think both those things show a cultural norm that the thought process of, okay, either if I'm getting it right now, it's okay with my culture, or if I thought about it, I still think it's okay with my culture. So it's showing, it's almost normal now if you have a tattoo and you can't really judge who's having a tattoo or why they're having a tattoo. It's really normal because it's an art that's accepted nowadays.
And there's something else to add is in the education of tattoo art. I think more people have, as more people get tattoos, it's become such a wide thing that, and as well as because unlike previous, probably like centuries ago, people weren't, they weren't introduced that much into art. But as time passed, as we lived through like different societies, art became more widespread into the public, and that's something I've seen many academic scholars, they mention that, and how it has become more widespread, and in becoming widespread, tattoo in itself, because I think it's being recognized as art, is becoming more accepted.
yeah. I've seen, like I said, I've seen the extremes, but I've also seen people who wait a long time and think about it. And it might not have any meaning to them at all, just the fact that they found something that they liked and they wanted it done a certain way, and it's just like a masterpiece of art, like just an artwork. Like, it's crazy.
How would a class that teaches tattoo literacy, how would that affect their decision making?
What do you mean?
Like them getting educated in an art education class, how do you think that would affect their decision making on getting tattoos?
I think if you have that, if you're in that mindset, or you're interested in tattoos, or you want to become a tattoo artist, you should have that option of being able to take that class, because it might open your eyes to. You might be someone like me who not quite sure if I want a tattoo or if I want a tattoo. Maybe this class will open my eyes. And we take classes all the time in college that say this is what's supposed to teach us about different careers, or this is supposed to teach us about different literacies. But this will enable those who are interested in tattoos to be able to learn about them, learn the different varieties, learn different schemes, or whatever it may be, but give them that option that maybe they can't really get in college. They've only really been able to get by internships or apprenticeships. They're only able to get through those methods, but now they can actually take a class and learn different literacy forms.
I think it's not just getting that tattoo, somebody would take it, but if somebody's an art major, let's just say, and he wants to, I think when people are studying art, art itself, as I explained, it's like expressing emotion, so they want to find ways in a variety of ways to express their emotion. That can be painting, that can be architecture, and that can be tattoos itself. So they would probably take that class in itself just to learn about another method, another way to express their own emotions.
I think that's it. Like, agreeing with both of them. Like, the more knowledge you have, the more widespread variety that you can, like, choose from. Like you were saying, you don't have to be interested in just tattooing. It's just painting, architecture, tattooing. It's just, once you have that knowledge, you can try to apply it to all different aspects.
It's building a base. It creates a base in which you can use in many other fields. So it's not that just tattoos, you can also use it because it's very hard to tattoo, and you can use those skills or use those because it's a very historically very old, so it has many skills that can translate all across in different fields.
Thanks, guys.